So today we're going to be learning about Roman numerals. And as fifth graders, we already know how to add and subtract. And while we'll be learning about Roman numerals, we need to know that technique because we're going to learn how the Romans wrote their numbers and how they incorporated addition and subtraction into them. So, here is our number system from 1 to 10, and the Roman numeral for 1 looks pretty simple, is 1. For 2, it's two of these, they look like eyes. So I'm going to write here, this is 1. That's our explanation. Now, to write the number 2, they just added 1 plus 1 equals 2. So they added 2 of these together and makes 2. For 3, 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 3. So they added 3 of these kind of sticks or eyes, we can call them. Now for 4, instead of writing 4 eyes, they figured it would be too confusing. So what they did is they added an I in front of the V. Now when you see this in Roman numerals, you're going to see that what this really means is to subtract. So the V stands for number 5. So what they're essentially writing is 5 minus 1 equals 4. Whenever you see a smaller number in front of a larger number, it means to subtract. So 5 minus 1 equals 4. So this stands for 4. Now 5, easy. This is 5. If you memorize what this stands for and this stands for the V, it'll be very easy to figure out the rest of the numbers. So let's do 6. So Thomas, what do you think they did with the 6? How do you think they came up with the number 6?
Because 5 equals V, and 1 equals I, they put V plus I.
Very good. They put V plus I, so it's 5 plus 1 equals 6. Good. The same thing for 7. 5 plus 2 I's equals 7. 5, 6, 7. So 5 plus 1 equals 7. For 8, same thing. They did 5 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 equals 8. Now, what do you think they did for 9? I'm listening. I'm just getting something. Go ahead.
I equals 1.
How do they come up with that symbol for 9? Now let's skip for a second. 10 equals X is equal to 10. Okay, go ahead.
Because 5 equals V, they added another V, so,
well, we're talking about 9 here, right? We're talking about the X, not the V.
So you subtract 1 and X.
So, okay, and in our numbers it would be what? Converted, use our numbers. They subtract 9.
No, 10.
I mean,
10 minus 1.
Sorry, yes. 10 minus 1 equals 9. This stands for 10. So we said whenever there is a smaller number in front of a bigger number, we have to subtract. So I'm going to write that rule here. Rule. When there is a smaller number in front of a larger number, you subtract. And what did we say was the rule for let's say for number 6? What's the rule there?
5 plus 1.
Right, so what are they doing? If there is a number on the right side, what are they doing? You see how, for example, did we notice that 4 and 6 have the same symbols, but they look different? So for 4, we are subtracting 5 minus 1 equals 4, right? And what are we doing for 6?
You're adding.
We're adding. So when there is a symbol to the
Left.
to the right of the number, you are adding. However, when there is a number, I should say smaller number to the right, you add. Excellent. So we are noticing a pattern here. I notice a pattern. Thomas, do you see a pattern here? Can you tell me, look at 1 to 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we see 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see some changes. How would you think that the Romans wrote the number 11? Okay, if we know that X in Roman numeral, the Romans use X for 10, how would they write 11? How do you think they would write the number 11?
XI.
Very good. And how did you come up with that?
Because if I is in front of a number and it adds it to make it become bigger.
Very good. So if I is, so you said what was the Roman numeral for 11? I. Excellent. So Thomas said if there is, say that again.
If there's a number in front of an I, you add.
What kinds of a number? Remember we talked about right and left. Remember the rule?
When there's
So the rule was when there is a smaller number in front of a larger number, you subtract, right? Smaller in front of a larger, you subtract. However, when there is a smaller number to the right, you add. So what did we do for 11?
we add it.
Added. And what did we add?
We add 11.
We added
10 and 1.
which equals
11.
good. Good. So we're gonna skip a bit and we're gonna come up with our own numbers. Okay. Now I want you to. Well, actually, before we do that, I want to introduce more numbers together. So we're gonna skip. So, for example, how would we write the number 12? How would we write 12?
XII.
X, beautiful, I, and that's because it's 10 plus 1 plus 1. 10 plus 1 plus 1 equals 12. Okay, and then the same would go on for 13. It will be X and 3 I's, right? It'll be 13 and 14. Let's do 14. How would we how would we do 14? How would we do 14? I'm gonna refresh your memory. Sorry, I'm using the same chart. I'm running out of chart paper. 14. So this is 4. Okay, and let's do and this is 10. Okay, remember that. So how would we do how would we write 14?
10 IV.
Very good.
Very good, Thomas.
It would be
XIV.
it would be what?
XIV.
XIV. Good.
Very good, Thomas.
XIV because it's 10 plus 4
Plus 4. Yeah.
equals 14. This is 4. 10 plus 4, 14. So now you see a pattern. You know that to write 15, you would do XV. Okay? So, I'm going to give you a number and I want you to write it in Roman numerals. Let's see. I want you to write the number, I want you to write the number 19. You can write it, or actually you can tell me how to write it and then we'll do it together. And then I'm going to introduce more numbers after this. So how would you write 19?
19, you would write X, IX.
Very good.
Very good. X,
IX.
I, X. And why did we do X, I, X?
Because 10 plus 9 equals 19.
Because 10 plus 9 equals 19. Good. Now I'm going to introduce a bigger number to you. So we know our basic numbers. Now I'm going to introduce 1,000 to you. So I'm going to do it on here because it's getting kind of cramped. So I'm going to skip around a bit. So 1,000 is, 1,000, right? In our numeric system is M. Okay, so how would we write 2,000? If we're adding, how do you get from 1,000 to 2,000? Simple math. Great, good. So 2,000 would be M. And how would we write, how many minutes? Pause it.